This is my 1975 Chevy LUV. It's lowered 4 inches in the back and about 4 inches in the front. It has a 289 small block Chevy with a turbo 350. I did this swap in my garage. It has old school Hooker Hart wheels. Those are 14-inch. The interior is fairly original door panels. Carpet is original, but very dirty. It has BMW E30 or E36 seats. I can't remember off the top of my head. It has a B&M shifter. This truck did used to be a 4-speed manual, so it maintains the clutch pedal, but it is not hooked up to anything. These gauges do not work. The fuel gauge does work. I have this cheap setup just for now. This is actually a ongoing project. I'm currently in the middle of building it. This is the engine bay of the Chevy LUV. It's a 289 with a turbo 350. It has Hooker headers, long tube headers. And the one thing I like about these headers, one of the runners actually goes outside of the frame rail and is clamped together on the outside of the frame rail. Super cool. It has power brakes, no power steering, no AC, no heat, aftermarket Speedway radiator with a custom mount on the top and the bottom. This is a stock motor out of a 57 Corvette. Electronic ignition, all the little bells and whistles. The hood bolts up to these hinges here and opens this way. It just doesn't have the bolts in it right now, so I was forced to pull it off. And of course it starts to rain right when I make my video. It uses Ace motor mounts and an Ace transmission mount, which are designed specifically for a small block Chevy and a LUV. I had to take about 4 inches up and back out of the firewall to maintain a clean look. I have seen people put them in without doing that, but it requires massaging with a hammer, and that's a little too janky for me. One thing that I dislike about this swap is the serviceability to the ignition system is a little bit difficult. To remove the distributor, you actually have to take the radiator out, slide the motor forward with the adjustable motor mounts, jack up the transmission, and then you're able to pull the distributor out, and you also have to remove the hood latch. Not the easiest task, but I was lucky and I dropped it in the hole the first time, and it was timed correctly. I'm running a 15-inch fan on the front, as well as a transmission cooler that is down here. For the front suspension, I'm running QA1 coilovers with a tab kit. You have to cut out the top tower to make room for the coil, but it's not too bad. It rides really, really good. For the rear suspension, I'm using a lowering block, like I mentioned before. which is there. It is a stock rear end with a custom drive shaft. It is a one tire fire, but I have plans to swap the rear end for an S10 rear end. I'll do a little startup here. It is an electric fuel pump from factory. I was able to maintain the electric fuel pump. I just had to upgrade it to a 7-pound pump instead of a 4-pound pump because of the bigger 4-barrel carburetor. Good oil pressure at idle. The fan is always on. And currently it does have a bit of an idle issue, which is on the list. But other than that, it runs all right. Maybe has a little bit of a misfire. These are all things that are getting fixed very soon. It does have a timing chain noise that is getting torn apart in the next couple weeks to get fixed. Going to a gear set probably. Plans for this truck are to fix the timing chain noise, switch out the rear end, fix the misfire issue. Just a big tune-up.